Good morning. Charmaine Watt coming to you live from Regina, Saskatchewan. Thank you to everyone that has been watching my Facebook Lives. I hope that you're getting some value out of these Facebook Lives that I've been doing now continuously once a week since January. It has been a challenge in some ways, always coming up with something to speak about, but it is a challenge that I said I was going to take on and do so I could continue to grow my business. Recently, a friend of mine, Logan Gerard, set up a landlord association, a landlord advocates group. Logan created this group for the purpose of discussion on how we can protect ourselves as property owners. Now, he will be studying the Residential Tenancies Act, as well as researching what our rights are and how we can prevent criminal activity from getting into and or around our buildings. Now, the Residential Tenancies Act, also known as the ORT, has a lot of little rules and regulations, and personally I find it very hard to understand some of the rules and regulations. However, recently I did have to be in touch with the ORT to deal with one of my tenants who I had evicted due to non-payment. Now, this person had removed all of their personal stuff out of the main floor of the house and left what I consider to be non-essential items in the basement. Now, some of the items that he left, personally, I felt had no value whatsoever. The one I felt he had some value in was his hockey memorabilia. And I figured maybe it was worth maybe $5,000. And I'm just guessing because I have no idea what stuff like that is worth. Other than that, I felt everything in the basement was just garbage. Anyway, the ORT, when I got them involved, they did finally, well, I shouldn't say finally, I've presented all the documentation showing why he should be evicted and why he had to remove his items out of the house and so on. And he set up a date to come in on a Sunday afternoon to pick up his stuff. And of course, he was a no-show. So I got in touch with the ORT Monday morning and I said, this is what's happened on the weekend. And in the meantime, he had made an accusation that I was threatening. Now, most people that know me know I'm not threatening in any way, shape, or form. And my size alone, I'm just a little over 5 feet tall, is not intimidating to anybody. Anyway, when we went into the ORT office, the person said, yeah, he says, I don't think you're intimidating or abusive in any way. So he gave me the closure to get this person out within 7 days, and if he did not remove his items, then I'd have the right to dispose of them. Now, he waited until the very last day to remove his items, and we stayed on site because we weren't sure what he had in mind as far as maybe potential damage. In the end, he did fill up the trailer with a lot of the items, but we have removed about 1,800 pounds of garbage out of the basement, things that he did not want. 2 desks, lots of chairs that were broken because he had picked them up somewhere used, and they were probably not great shape when he got them. Just debris that he didn't want at all. One of the other things that we had to do was clean up the yard because he'd left a lot of wood items laying around. He'd been a contractor by trade, and he had built these, they were cute little flower boxes that he'd had in the backyard. I could not personally remove those flower boxes. So David, my husband, helped me do so. And in doing so, it turned out that he had put in about 150 pounds of concrete into the bottom of these flower boxes. They were about 2 feet wide, about 2 feet high. Nice little boxes that had flowers in them, little tears on them. Well, anyway, there's no way I could lift a 150-pound concrete block. It wasn't just laying on the ground. He'd actually dug a hole, so you had this big chunk of concrete in the bottom. So my husband had a wheeler, and we removed these 2 chunks of concrete, and we managed to get them in the back of the truck to take out to the dump. But in my opinion, when he built those, he had intentions of causing trouble at some point in time. I do not know of anyone personally that builds a wood flower box and puts 150 pounds of concrete in the bottom. To me, that is just so bizarre. In the end, we did get him out. The house has been repainted. I've got just the kitchen and part of the hallway and the bathroom left to do, and I've had a lot of interest in renting out that house. And the reason there is so much interest is because it is a single family home in a great neighborhood, and it backs onto a city park. And the backyard is also fenced in with one of those wire mesh fences. So if they have children, it helps to contain them and keep them safe. Now, my friend that started this landlord advocates group, he did so because this is going to be a safe place where we as a group can raise any concerns or questions in regards to the landlord and tenant's rights. My concern, I shouldn't even say my concern, one of my issues with the ORT is the fact that if a person has not been paying rent and you evict them, that is a civil matter, and you can't even go down to the police station and file a complaint of fraud. What I don't understand is if these people had no intentions of paying their rent in any way, shape, or form, to me that is theft or fraud. If I walked into a store and picked up an item and thought, gee, I like this item, and I walked out, that would be theft and I would be charged. Or if I went down to a dealership and took a vehicle for a test drive and thought, gee, I like this car, I don't want to pay for it and drive home with it, I'd be charged with theft. I don't understand how somebody that is renting a property from you and does not want to pay rent is not charged with theft or fraud. To me, it is just one more illegal activity. Anyway, those are some of the challenges that as a property owner you do sometimes come into contact with. One of the things I've learned is that I cannot, myself personally, because I'm a caring and loving person, I get taken advantage of because they see my weakness in caring about people, and so they manipulate me into thinking, yeah, you know, next month they'll pay their rent and so on. This person managed to con me for about 5 months. So on a go-forward basis, my goal is to only show the properties, and I will have a property management firm go through and process the paperwork to see if they're a qualified tenant and let them deal with collecting the rent and dealing with any issues relating to that. And it's just going to be one less headache for me to have to deal with. The property, thankfully, he did not damage. It has, you know, the usual wear and tear from a family of 5 living in it for 4 years. So the floors do have to be, carpets do have to be cleaned. The walls had to be painted, those types of things. Not a major issue. It was more the garbage and debris that he left behind that I should never have had to deal with. All considering, I got very lucky. You read in some articles where people have their homes trashed to the extent of $60,000 or $80,000, and it just destroys them, and they no longer want to do real estate. Thankfully, I've never had that issue. I have had one house where they did do a fair amount of damage. They ripped smoke detectors out of the ceiling. They kicked holes in the wall. They, the one child graffitied the bedroom wall with paint with her name and other things like that. I can't even think about some of the other things in that particular house. But that's another concern I have. These tenants always say they want a good quality home to live in. So you provide this good quality home, and they think it's okay to not take care of it or to damage it and leave it. In fact, this one particular person, when she moved out, there was actually mice in the house. The house side had never had mice, but when you leave your back door open all the time for your children to run in and out of course mice are going to come into the building. I don't care if you live in the city or out in the country. Growing up in the country, we were never allowed to leave the doors open for that particular reason. So, same rules apply in the city. Take care of your property and you won't have any issues. Anyway, Logan, like I said, has started this Landlord Advocates group. If you are interested or like to learn more and have any questions, please feel free to contact me at charmaine.watt@sasktel.net. That is Charmaine, SHARMANE WATT@sasktel.net. Please like and share my Facebook Lives, and please join me on LinkedIn, where I'd like to see some of you approach me at too. Remember, live your life by design and not by default. Take care and have a great day. Goodbye.